Okay, testing, testing. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Fake B12 Friday, where we break down the fake narrative based vehicle that people call vitamin B12 and show you that there's no reason to keep believing this lie. And you can, with all your autonomy, make the decision to actually defend the animals fully and your health fully. I have a sign I'm going to put up behind me, but I can't do it yet because management's still in the other room, and I don't want them to see I'm putting a tack in the wall. So they're over there. You can't. I don't think they can hear me though. It's like a soundproof room. But I have a nice little sign today. Oh, here, I'll show you. This is what it says. It says, "Be a vegan, not a pick-me." And I'm going to go into that in a little bit. So many people, we are calling ourselves vegans, but we are giving into the tribal echo chambers and the wanting to be liked, and we become pick-me vegans of a different sort. So I'm going to touch on that and why it's so important for the animals that we break that. Not only break it, just full on annihilate that. But we'll wait till we get about 10 people in here. We'll start. See, we have some newcomers. Hi, guys. 2 chapters tonight. Chapter 20, Fear and Marketing, Deceiving the Masses, the Edward Bernays Blueprint. And this is the kind of Nick Naylor guy that I referenced. He played by Aaron Eckhart from Thank You for Smoking. A lot of B12's blueprint was inspired by Edward Bernays, and we're going to learn about him and the tactics he used to sell all kinds of propaganda to the public, which is exactly what our lovely B12 vitamin is. Anyway, how you guys doing today? Oh, did I? Yeah, I put I put a title up, so people that want to come in will be here. I didn't really put a clickbaity title this time, so that's okay. We're just trying to get people that are interested, just sending out a beacon of light for people that are interested. And if you're just getting here, my name's James. I'm a vegan activist, and we are dissembling and destroying the B12 myth week by week and educating vegans and letting them know that you don't need to eat B12. In fact, you should avidly avoid it as far as your health goes. So, welcome, guys. He convinced them to add eggs in breakfast foods. Oh my gosh, you nailed it. It's part of the chapter. And Betty Crocker's business went way high because of it. And we're going to get into that. In fact, of this chapter, I'm going to probably read the whole chapter because it's not that long. In fact, we can probably put this up now. I'm going to put this up now. I think we're good. So you guys hang out. I'm going to put a little sign up here for you so you can see what exactly we're doing. Let's see about right here. That should be good. And, oh yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, can you guys see that? There you go. It says be a vegan, not a pick-me. So I'm going to touch on that in a little bit too. That's interesting, Shadow. Thanks for being here and thanks for sharing that. Um, so I guess to all you guys, because I got a few of you in here, by the way, if you haven't done so, like and subscribe. I'm a vegan activist. I go out there and I ask people why they're not vegan yet. I provide some, I think, pretty entertaining content that might make you think a little bit in posture all the things we've been, or ponder all the things we've been taught to believe. And it could be a pretty illustrious trip down the rabbit hole that the channel could give you. So like and subscribe to my channel if you can. Love you all. Thanks for being here. And you're probably wondering what that is. I'm going to touch on that. Now, I do these live streams once a week to tilt people up to I tilt people's kind of purviews to more of a just up to see what it is being fed to us through the messagings, different lines of propaganda, different directives that we're all told to just adopt and do and not think twice about. Now, I do these once a week to point to those profit engines and let the individual make that empowering decision to boycott such systems. And yeah, that has to do with meat and cheese and milk and eggs. That's all a big lie. But it also has to do with vitamins, and specifically vitamin B12. So that's what we're talking about here tonight is vitamin B12. So it's used as an Achilles heel to the vegan diet. People think that you need to take it. People think it's only found in animal products and it's not found in the soil. And the biggest lie of it all is that it's never existed, period. So it's all architected through keen and clever collusion of industrial bad actors in order to full send a $600 million a year narrative into the sphere of understanding and get people drinking that Kool-Aid. And making the vegan diet look weak, and two, enriching their own pockets. So thanks for being here, guys. We're going to touch on two chapters tonight. Now, as you can see here, it says be a vegan, not a pick-me. Now, this is, okay, Shadow says, what about omega-3? So a lot of misunderstandings about omega-3. For one, you have chia, flax, and walnuts all synthesized to ALA and bring you bountiful omega-3. We get omega-3 from chia, flax, and walnuts. You can have algae oil if you want, but you don't need to eat algae oil. You'll read a lot of propped up, shored up, and funded science. It's going to tell you, science enterprise I call it, it's going to tell you that you can only get it from fish. You can only get it from fish oils. You have to eat algae oil. Don't listen to that bullshit. It's all lies. The vegan diet lacks absolutely nothing. Yeah, and we're going to be talking about B12 right now. All the other B vitamins you'll find ubiquitous in the vegan diet. The book right here, it's called The Enigma of Vitamin B12, Nature's Only Mistake, by Anthony V. Hayes, will actually illuminate you to all of the the B vitamins that are in the world of plants. And then we get to B12 and we learn that it's all a nefarious lie and it doesn't even exist. So that's what these live streams are to educate you about. But why does it say that right there? Why does it say be a vegan and not a pick-me? Why does it say that? Okay, so a vegan is somebody, and I'm hopefully talking to some of you guys right now that might be listening on the sidelines, somebody that makes that empowering decision to seek the truth, to be the truth for the animals. And we decided along however many years ago that we were not going to vote for meat and cheese or milk or eggs, which means we're not voting for a sovereign sentient being to die for our taste buds, right? So we went vegan because of the truth, because we were mad too, because we wanted to boycott said systems. Now, right now in the vegan movement, there's a lot of brainwashing going on, manipulation. There's a lot of just kind of tribal echo chamber activity where we have these tribes that they're vegan. We'll say vegan, but inside these tribes and inside these echo chambers, everyone is defending the use of something called vitamin B12. And little do people know, on a real basis, when you vote for vitamin B12, you are voting concretely and saying, okay, the vegan diet is weak, and we cannot, give that to the animals. We cannot give the vegan diet the full strength. We have to concede a bit there. We are also voting for systems of vivisection. If you guys don't know what vivisection is when they take pigs and monkeys and cows. Elon Musk is doing something just disgusting right now with monkeys, testing out his Neuralink vehicle with. Incredibly unethical man, no one to look up to, just absolute trash on the basis of ethos. And every single time I hear something more about this Neuralink thing, I just want to vomit. But vivisection, not good. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Vivisection is not good. And when you vote for vitamin B12, you're saying yes to vivisection. And then you're also saying, okay, I'm going to put some cobalt, some cyanide, some lab-made mystery bacteria into my body, and then I'm going to tell everybody else to do that. And that's very not nice. Very not nice. We've talked about via different stuff in the book how excessive levels of cyanide and cobalt are just terrible for your health, connected to cancer, a whole myriad of other end effects. So it's very important that you just don't take this vitamin. Don't give it to your kids. It's an absolute disgusting thing to feed your children with. Once you know better, you will know that when you give a child B12, you're putting cobalt, cyanide, a mystery bacteria that could have dairy runoff, sewage sludge, GMO waste in it. You're putting that into a little child's body, and that's very not nice. So a lot of these vegans inside these echo chambers are defending this, and they're saying, yes, vote for B12, yes, vote for vivisection, all the stuff I just said. And they're going along with the tribe. I'll cut for a sec. Might have bigger things going on right now, maybe war, maybe not. Okay, I get that. I don't get that. I can tell you right now that it's all interconnected. So war is interconnected with this word right here. So if you're anti-war, you've got to read a book called The World Peace Diet and actually be anti-war and go vegan. That's how you're against these things. It's actions. It speak louder than words, right, guys? NFG says, do you think lab-grown meat is ethically acceptable? I do not. I do not. And that's a lot to unpack. There's a bit to unpack there, but I don't think it is ethically acceptable. So the answer is no to that. I could get into that, but that's not what these live streams are about. But if you look at my channel and you go to some of the other videos, come to my live stream Sunday afternoon. By the way, guys, I'll be live in the afternoon Sunday. It looks like at this point, not late night tomorrow. Then you can see, and I'll tell you why artificially grown meat, cultivated meat is just unethical. It's not good. Hey, what's up, Dominion? How you doing? Nice to see you. Uh, John's in the house. Yeah, okay. What LGM? Can you amplify on that, John? Oh, lab grown meat. Yeah, okay, gotcha. Yeah. Matt, so the sign says be a vegan, not a pick me vegan. Well, or not a pick me. Or I could even say not a tribal pick me. Because, yeah, I will say, yeah, what Dominion says is absolutely right. It's better. It's definitely a better option than the slaughterhouse. It's definitely better for the animals. But in the spirit of like just all considered truth, along the lines of something as strong as in the potency of the message of the anti B12, I would probably not recommend lab grown meat. But if it's a choice between that and the slaughterhouse, it's much nicer than the slaughterhouse. Absolutely. So the tribal echo chamber is where all these pick-me vegans are coming from. These guys that are just like going along with the tribe. What the tribe says, oh, this is the vegan activist I like, even though part of me is kind of curious what James is saying. Doesn't matter. I'm following the tribe. I want to be liked. We call that a pick-me. And I have to be a little bit harsh here when talking to fellow vegans because we have to hold each other to account. I just put up a post yesterday on my YouTube and mentioning how when we're talking to non-vegans, it's best for us, in my humble opinion, as a vegan activist, to share in the spirit of one being, in the spirit of our shared being, like the oneness of everybody, and how all of us are wounded by these profit engines that are trickling down and hurting us day after day after day, and how we should never instantiate a me versus you dynamic, a kind of talking down to you. Oh, I'm better than you. Oh, I'm going to get you and make an example of it for everybody in my video. I'll be candid. In some of my earlier times of activism, I gave in to this kind of more so theatrical approach. But as I learned and as I moved and as I kind of walked my path, I realized that's not the best way to go. We're all wounded. So what the F would it make, and how is it going to make anybody go vegan when we talk down to them or we don't come from a place of oneness? Anyway, that being said, This message to vegans has to be delivered with strength, because how in the world, if we don't hold each other to account, and we keep going on and being, allegiant to this whole B12 messaging thing, then instead of pointing people to profit engines, we're literally defending profit engines, which is the absolute antithesis of what vegan activism is. So it's important to get everybody on the same page and maybe, use words like pick me. Don't be a pick me. Stand alone. Be an actual vegan. Because guess who needs you? The animals need you. Happy Friday. Um, and Antwell, that's a perception we want to shatter, right? Antwell, that's a perception we want to shatter. And the profit engines love that there's a whole versus thing in there. They love that we're just talking down to people, and other vegans are making fun of their sky daddies and stuff like that, like certain terrible activists that for some reason are so reputable in the vegan space. I mean, just trash activism. When you talk down to somebody, you make fun of them, and you don't put your arm around them and just gently point to how we all have been fooled. Because sound communication is the way to go. So, when you say your whole group is an us versus them, I'm sorry, but I have to agree with that right now. I have to agree with that, and we're trying to change that as good vegans and good vegan activists. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was a militant vegan, right? She's just terrible. She's horrible. I don't understand how anybody could revere her activism. She's horrible. But whatever. They're doing their thing over there across the pond. There are a lot of good activists, I think, over there. There's some solid activists, some activists that I know and I really like and I talk to. But I'll tell you, the whole atheism, antinatalism, me versus you activism, and science enterprise defending seems to be very connected to all those activists across the pond. It's an unfortunate thing. I'm not saying all of them, but damn, there's a big group of them over there. Rufus says, "This is my favorite channel to watch while having a mixed grill." Okay, buddy. She has a medical degree, but that might explain it. She's drank the Kool-Aid of academic enterprise. Shadow Knight's here. Bible Dumb Podcast is here. Ryan's here. How do you feel about eating wild self-harvested mollusks? Less bad than eating mammals? I would say don't eat anything sentient. I guess that's where the line is. We just look at sentience. Don't eat anything sentient. Don't kill it. Leave them alone. Let them enjoy their purviews and their experiences on this beautiful earth, right? Okay, guys, I've gone 18 minutes. I got to start the chapter. And today, everybody, we are going to be learning about Edward Bernays and his blueprint for just full sending lies, deception, propaganda into the sphere of information, and having people just adopt and take on that stuff and look at it as truth. And we're going to see how Edward Bernays, his blueprints were the absolute inspiration for the B12 bad actors to full send the narrative themselves. So really interesting chapter. And the cool thing about this, I get to read the whole chapter. I'm going to read the whole chapter because it's not a very long chapter. And I might touch on a few things and stop. If you're here, you're just getting here, you're a vegan and you're in here, please like and subscribe. I see I got a few of you in here right now. We're trying to ramp this channel right back up. We want to double, triple, quadruple subs, in the next short period of time. So please show some love and like and subscribe. Hey, Sky's in the house. Sky Jack Morgan is in the house. Nice to see you. Scott, every Friday I do a fake B12 Friday where we amplify on, it could be one chapter or multiple chapters on the book. We touch on it, and we just try to point vegans to profit engines, which is the absolute nexus of all B12 information. And B12 directives is a profit engine, a $600 million a year profit engine. So, Sky, it says be a vegan, not a pick-me. I put that there because so many vegans are in these tribal echo chambers where they're scared to just say and go against the tribe, right? They want to be included, they want to be liked, and they're not venturing outside of that tribal echo chamber because they have that fear of, being outcasted, or that fear of being ostracized. So I call these vegans, unfortunately, And I know this comes off as harsh, but it's important. And like I was telling everybody in the chat, that we have to hold each other to account. I call these vegans pick me vegans. They just go along with their favorite vegan activist, their favorite vegan influencer that champions the B12 directive. And Sky, I know you know that when we vote for B12, we vote for vivisection, we vote for a marked expressing of how weak the vegan diet is. We vote for cobalt cyanide and mystery bacteria, and it's all in the dollar, right? That's the vote. So every Friday, Sky, I'm out here until we're done with the book, touching on this book, The Enigma of Vitamin B12, Nature's Only Mistake, by Anthony V. Hayes. And I want to touch on something, Sky, while you're here, if you're still listening, that maybe you could tell your followers the next time that maybe you and anybody else have any dialogues, that what I'm doing here is pointing to interventional material science. I'm not pointing to observational, science as in the study of mathematics, the study of the human body, the study of anatomy and physiology, and stuff like that. The kind of factual is type stuff, right? But interventional material science is always funded. There's always equity involved. There's always patents involved, and that's where the money starts eclipsing truth. It absolutely does, and that's what we're against, and that's what I'm against when we have these talks and we point to the absolute insidiousness and nefariousness of the vitamin B12. So anyway. Thanks for stopping in, and everybody go subscribe to Sky Jack Morgan. He's doing great things talking about current events. He is a big vegan YouTuber. Give him a sub, and thanks, Sky, for stopping in. I appreciate that, and hopefully, you received some of the sound bites that I just sent out. Anyway, we're gonna read this whole chapter, guys, because it's not that long. And I think it's going to be an interesting one to hear about. Has anyone here seen the movie Thank You for Smoking? Oh, okay. Bible Dumb Podcast. That's a good question. Well, the vivisection is rampant and ubiquitous among all systems of pharma, vitamin, supplement, etc. It underlies, right? So when you vote for vitamin B12, you're voting for that system, right? It says, oh, interesting. So Bible says, I thought it was produced by microbial life in soil and water. And that's what I thought too. That's what I thought too. And then I realized, and then I was illuminated that it's absolutely not. It's actually a huge nefarious lie. B12 is a fake narrative-based entity, a vehicle, a vitamin that's made in a lab that has a lie underneath it used to propagate its legitimacy. It actually doesn't exist. It's never been in the soil at all. It doesn't exist in the soil. It's a complete misnomer of anything real. So what you should do, Bible, is read this book, The Enigma of Vitamin B12, Nature's Only Mistake, written by Anthea V. Hayes. And it'll tell you everything about where it actually came from. She's done the work. She's been vegan multi-decades. She went down the rabbit hole and compiled 7 years of trench harvested information. History, that's it. All she did was compile history and then show that to you so you, the reader, can read the tea leaves, use your own intuition to decide what's truth and what's a nefarious lie. So you have to read it, Bible Dumb Podcast. Thanks, Guy. I appreciate it. And thank you as well for speaking up for the animals, sir. I will be out there Sunday night. I got a new sign. Guys, I got some plans with the new sign. I think some effective means I'm going to kind of build into the sign. You'll see it Sunday night if I can get to it by then. If not, the sign will be a little more basic. Yeah. Jerry says, "Why are you acting like you know what you're talking about when you don't?" Thank you, Jerry. Well, thank you for being here. I don't even know if you know what the theme is here, but we're here to just talk about profit engines, talk about different lies that trickle down from profit engines, and tonight we're talking about vitamin B12. So, but thanks for being here. Yeah, I got a new sign. I had to retire the other one because it was too dinged up. Just beaten up by the rain, the snow, the wind, you name it, it was destroyed. So I had to retire it. I'll be working on getting a new one printed most likely, but my sign for Sunday is going to be more of a manually made sign. So old school, old school, old school. Yeah. But all right, so let's start this chapter. Who here has seen Thank You for Smoking, the movie with Aaron Eckhart? All right, well, tonight we're going to learn about Edward Bernays. So this guy right here, sorry about that beeping, just kind of started. The movie, you got to see it because Aaron Eckhart, his whole job was he was a lobbyist for the cigarette industry, and his whole job was to introduce doubt, right? Make people think that smoking wasn't as bad as it really was. Getting doctors on board, he was very in collusion with the pharmaceutical industry, the guns industry. There was many times they would have these meetups at restaurants where a rep from pharma would be there, a rep from the hunting and sport and guns, from alcohol. Unbelievable. Okay, sorry about the noise. They're all just colluding at the table, and that's the stuff of what this chapter is about. So we're going to learn about Edward Bernays, who was effectively the Nick Naylor of this period of time. So here we go. Who's ready? All right, chapter 20: Fear in Marketing and Deceiving the Masses. The Edward Bernays Blueprint. A large majority of the approximately 88 million vegans in the world today are thoroughly convinced of four things regarding B12. It is one of the most vital vitamins ever discovered for health. Number one. The bacteria that produces this essential nutrient no longer exists in the soil and probably never existed in plants either. Number two, and we were just talking about that. It is found in the intestines of animals, but not in humans. Number three. Number four, there is a wickedly progressive disease called vitamin B12 deficiency that can simply be prevented or cured with a B12 supplement or an injection. The problem is that none of these are true. Lies upon lies have been generated by the B12 publicity machine for decades, then unwittingly or deliberately copied and pasted and passed on unquestioningly until they have become undisputed fact. That's where we're at right now. But how exactly was this allowed to occur? How were so many people so easily deceived? In order to comprehend just how such a monumental level of deceit and skullduggery was even possible, one must take a close look at the methods used by the father of propaganda and lies, the master of spin, Mr. Edward Bernays. For it was he who was instrumental in getting a neurotoxin dumped into drinking water, eggs added into all cake batters, bacon tossed onto every breakfast plate, and a cigarette stuck in every woman's mouth. And it was he who composed and masterminded the very blueprint from which this whole diabolical plot and marketing of vitamin B12 was meticulously lifted. Whew! Accomplishing the entire B12 deception was not even that difficult. The perpetrators simply utilized the same methodologies that Bernays himself had employed in the 1920s. Mass manipulation techniques, unsubstantiated propaganda, and psychoanalytical methods to sway public opinion and shape consumer demand, along with a complete lack of scruples. Damn. Described by the New York Times as the father of public relations, Edward Louis Bernays referred to himself as America's #1 publicist, the nephew of famed psychologist Sigmund Freud. I didn't know that. That's interesting. So the nephew of Sigmund Freud. So that might be a tea leaf there. Bernays had a very low opinion of the masses. He believed that they were irrational and subject to herd instinct, which is that tribalism I was referring to earlier, that tribal echo chamber that all these pick-me's just love to stay in. And I want to digress. I'm saying that out of I'm just saying that with a little potency and a little strength to hopefully wake some people up. That's why I'm using that term. It's nothing. It's nothing like You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to come down like, some piece of shit just yelling at you, but I'm trying to wake up those people that are vegans and solid vegans and have always been vegans, but are totally just going along with the tribe, and they want to continue being that kind of pick me archetype and not questioning everything like the animals would want us to do. So, but herd instinct. He believed that they were irrational and subject to herd instinct, and that they could be controlled in desirable ways by using crowd psychology and psychoanalysis. His many successful campaigns were proof that large groups of people could be tricked into consuming things they did not need merely through emotional manipulation, especially products that were contrary to their best interests. Those in charge of disseminating information about vitamin B12 had obviously carefully studied and committed to memory the method Bernays himself called the engineering of consent. That was coined by him, the engineering of consent, which involves substituting emotional value for physical value. And clearly, the emotion the B12 peddlers chose as their successful marketing tool was one thing and one thing only. What do you guys think? What was the big emotion? What's the big emotion that B12 peddlers and those that stand to profit, what's the big emotion they use to get you to, there it is, fear. That's it, fear. That's what they use. Fear is persuasive. It is a highly effective sales strategy and a great motivator. The dread and panic it induces brings with it an air of urgency that demands immediate action. I'm going to cut real quick. I'm going to impersonate a group of people. Oh my God. I can't believe he's telling people that. It's dangerous. It's so. Oh my God. Oh my God. He's telling people not to eat B12. That is dangerous information. I mean, we're talking dementia. We're talking psychological breakdown. He's going to get numbness. He's going to get tingling. Oh, no. That is dangerous. He's got to stop that right now because he's doing a disservice to the animals, a disservice to the vegans. Oh my God. Oh my God. That's what's happening. And cut. The dread and panic it induces brings with it an air of urgency that demands immediate action. The consumer is convinced that they will likely be affected by something bad, like a disease, B12 deficiency maybe. And when it does affect them, it will be painful. And in order to avoid this pain, all they have to do is simply buy the product. If you start taking our vitamin B12 now, you won't get sick. No one could deny it was money well spent, as it will prevent all sorts of horrific things. Irreversible brain damage and nerve damage, winding up in the hospital and kicking yourself for not listening to reason. Okay, and we go back. Considered to be one of the 20th century's foremost salesmen of ideas, Bernays, our Nick Naylor, for all effective purposes, but this guy seems much more deviant. Bernays published his seminal work, Propaganda. He just straight up called it propaganda. He published his seminal work, Propaganda, in 1928. In it, he insisted that public relations was not a gimmick, but a necessity. Instead of admitting that what he did was exploit consumers for his own benefit, essentially tricking the public into buying things they initially didn't want or need, and in the process making himself and his clients rich, he awarded himself a higher calling in PR image. The conscious and intelligent manipulation of organized habits and opinions of the masses is an important element in democratic society. Those who manipulate this unseen mechanism of society constitute an invisible government, which is the true ruling power of our country. We are governed, our minds are molded, our tastes formed, and our ideas suggested largely by men we have never heard of. It is they who pull the wires that control the public mind, end quote. So, I mean, now it kind of makes sense that he's Sigmund Freud's nephew, when you see the connections going on here. This guy's sick. This guy is literally sick. However, he did admit that the work he performed provided leaders the means to control and regiment the masses. However, he did admit that the work he performed, quote, provided leaders the means to control and regiment the masses according to our will, without their knowing about it. He appealed not to the rational part of the mind, but to the unconscious. So this man is sick. This man is sick. Bernays acquired an impressive list of clients ranging from manufacturers such as General Electric, Procter & Gamble, and the American Tobacco Company. Oh, interesting confluence there, huh? To media outlets like CBS. He was even hired to orchestrate and promote Calvin Coolidge's presidential campaign. Yikes. One of his first large-scale projects was selling war to the public. So his job was to convince the average citizen that supporting and engaging in war was a good thing. Not only was it beneficial and productive, but it was inspired by altruistic intentions. Prior to this, public opinion was largely opposed to war. But by the time Bernays was through painting a rosy picture of the war racket, they were supporters of it. He'd essentially transferred military propaganda to the marketplace. Nazi propagandist Joseph Goebbels was also an admirer of Bernays' techniques, upon which he based his own strategy. So people were taking notes from this guy. This guy knew how to he knew how to get people drinking the Kool-Aid. He knew how to get people on board, how to get people believing lies for the purpose of him and his cronies making that money, baby. And his control issues and his power issues. Obviously, this guy is sick. He's sick. Bernays himself was no stranger to using fear to sell products. During a promotion for Dixie cups, he engineered a campaign to frighten people into thinking that only disposable cups were sanitary. In an effort to make this fabricated bugaboo appear valid, he founded the Committee for the Study and Promotion of the Sanitary Dispensing of Food and Drink. Damn. I mean, this man's serious, and he gets these things incepted. He has the pull, the networking. He's done the quid pro quo to get these things materialized, these actual systems that are just absolutely deceptive by nature. He was also very innovative in dreaming up ways to make an average or a substandard product appear unique and superior to all others. Hired by Ivory to convince consumers that their soap bars were more buoyant than competing products, Bernays devised a campaign to convince kids that bathing could be fun, sponsoring soap sculpture competitions and floating contests. Whatever it takes to get people excited about what he's selling. Some of his most infamous ads in the 1920s were for Lucky Strike cigarettes. Well, this is so interesting. I didn't actually go over the chapter until a few hours ago. And the cigarettes thing is just case in point. You know, it's just a complete bellwether of, how this blueprint worked so well for B12 as well. Specifically, the Lucky Strike cigarettes specifically were targeting women with promises of female empowerment. The campaign succeeded in getting a multitude of them hooked on smoking. Some of the slogans included, "To keep a slender figure," an ancient prejudice, and an ancient prejudice has been removed. There was also the claim that 20,679 physicians say Luckies are less irritating. So a lot of well thought out, well architected messaging. He promoted cigarettes as both soothing to the throat and slimming to the waistline. But inside his own home, Bernays was busy trying to persuade his own wife to kick the habit. When he discovered a pack of parliaments she'd hidden somewhere inside the house, he would snap every one of them in half and throw them in the toilet. While having no qualms promoting cigarettes to other women, he personally found the habit incredibly nasty and was perhaps even aware of some of the earlier studies linking smoking to cancer. Yeah, I'm sure he was aware. Of course, he knew what he was doing. He knew of all like the health issues, the complications, and the dark end effects. But this man was sick. He was sick. And this is the blueprint of which the whole B12 narrative is based off of and full sended into the information sphere via. This is the crux. This is context for those of you that are listening. All right, it's only got a few more pages, but we're reading the whole chapter because it's not that long. Okay. Yeah, thanks for moderating the chat a little bit. We get some interesting people in here. There's always interesting people in vegan rooms. I don't have it titled anything vegan, but I got the word right there, so maybe people are seeing that coming in and being trolls. Thanks, Dominion. Yeah. All right. So he also introduced the idea of adding eggs to cake mixes, which was at the time, and still is, a completely unnecessary ingredient. Yet everyone's using eggs. For his client, Betty Crocker, his marketing strategy consisted of convincing homemakers that eggs needed to be added to the instant cake mix so as to make the woman more of a participant in the process. The slogan was, "You add the eggs for that special homemade goodness." There was also the subliminal element that adding an egg to the recipe allowed the mother hen to symbolically give an egg to her family. Cringe. Needless to say, sales thereafter skyrocketed, not only for Crocker's cake mix, but for eggs in general. Now, today, a century later, most people would consider not only would consider not only cakes to be incomplete without eggs, but pancakes and other sweetened baked goods like cookies and pies. Eggs have become a standard staple ingredient that's listed on each package, either included in the product itself or instructions to mix in. So thank you, Edward Bernays, for that too. What an amazing, just the fruits he bore for us in our existence are just so to our benefit and to the animal's benefit. Another product Bernays promoted was for the pork industry, bacon. So this guy promoted bacon too. Hired to promote Beechnut's sliced bacon and Swift's premium bacon, one of the slogans was "Excite 'em with a real American breakfast." It's great. It's crazy. It's crazy. You know, we laugh, but this is actually still bought, unfortunately, by the masses. And people don't think a breakfast is whole without bacon or without eggs. You know, right now, and I really should. Yeah, I laugh because it's just out of control. But on a serious note, it's we're all being manipulated by these profit engines. Prior to 1920, the American breakfast was fairly light and Spartan, consisting mostly of grains, a bit of fruit, and a cup of coffee. But after Bernays was done collecting testimony from nearly 5,000 doctors across the U.S. who attested that a heavier breakfast like bacon and eggs was a healthier one, he single-handedly managed to convince millions to incorporate bacon, and again, eggs, into their morning routine of a healthy breakfast. There's no doubt that these ad campaigns played a huge role in elevating the consumer's desire for bacon and eggs to such an extent that massive egg-laying operations and pig factory farms needed to be created in order to satisfy its rising demand. Once again, you got to hand it to this guy as far as like his work ethic and doing a good job. Damn, damn. The architects of who copied and pasted this into the B12 narrative, you got to hand it to them. They had some foresight. They knew what to copy and paste. They knew what to act on. They knew how to build it out. You got to hand it to them. The work is effective. Incredible. Because of this guy, they literally had to build new factories for egg laying. They had to build new pig factory farms. And guess who suffers? All the poor animals and the humans. Incredible. One can also thank Edward Bernays for the whitewashing and glorification of fluoride. And I didn't know about this either. This is interesting too, because I was talking about fluoride in one of the previous chapters, and I was referencing Alcoa, the aluminum company of America, how they had to find somebody to really blueprint a beautiful marketing campaign for fluoride. And I talked about that a few fake B12 Fridays ago, and how effective it is to get this kind of multi-dynamic kind of engine moving, where you charge PhDs to sign off on things, you get doctors to all agree with things, you fund studies to get things materialized and crystallized as truth. And sure enough, here we are in chapter 20, and we're talking about fluoride again, this time with Edward Bernays getting this one off the ground. So I digress. One can also thank Edward Bernays for the whitewashing and glorification of fluoride, a neurotoxin that's been legally dumped in all drinking water since 1945. And for those of you that don't know, fluoride is known to calcify the pineal gland, which is our physical conduit to the spiritual realm. They know this. They know this. And here we are in our toothpaste, in our water, and that is the ethos of which we abide in this material world. We live in a scary time. Oh, here we go. Hired by Alcoa, the aluminum company of America. I know that because I looked them up for the one a few weeks ago. Hired by Alcoa to present this waste product of the aluminum industry, because it's a waste product of the aluminum industry. They had to find a way to monetize it, to make money off of it, to somehow, I don't know, to not just throw it out and not make any money. For God's sakes, they need more. They need to buy bigger houses, get better cars, get more material wealth. I mean, come on, guys, can't blame them, right? Um, Hired by Alcoa to present this waste product of the aluminum industry as a benefit to public health, Bernays himself is quoted as saying that he took the job because he wanted to see if he could convince an entire nation to vote against what it knew instinctively to be its own good health interests. As part of the campaign, Bernays actually called up every dictionary and encyclopedia in existence to have them add an entry on fluoridation, which he believed would give the whole concept a sense of authority. Wow, let's add it to the encyclopedias, let's add it to the dictionaries. But he had the pull. He had the pull to do this. He had that network. Fluoride was known to be so toxic that in 1997, the FDA began requiring a written warning on the side of all toothpaste boxes in the U.S. that contained it, making it clear that the additive was poison. Capital letters. Warning, keep out of reach of children under 6 years of age. If you accidentally swallow more than used for brushing, seek professional help or call a poison control center immediately. The main fluoride chemical added to water today is hydrofluorosilicic acid, an industrial byproduct from the phosphate fertilizer industry. It is known to cause permanent damage in young children's teeth between 3 months and 8 years old, a condition called dental fluorosis. Fluoride also accumulates in the bones, eventually causing a bone disease called skeletal fluorosis in adults. Even so, it's still promoted by millions of dentists as a miraculous savior of teeth. The CDC even claims on its website that water with fluoride protects teeth from tooth decay. Cringe much? In direct contrast to the CDC's official statement, the prestigious medical journal The Lancet published a peer-reviewed report entitled Fluoride, a Dangerous Neurotoxin, which referenced a 2006 study that analyzed 5 potential neurotoxins. Fluoride was added to the list of harmful environmental pollutants alongside such well-known poisons as arsenic, mercury, and lead, with the statement that developmental neurotoxins at high enough levels can cause developmental disorders and are particularly hazardous to fetuses and young children whose brains are still developing. Similar kind of end effect as the whole intaking B12 or putting B12 into your child's body notion. Scary, isn't it? I just don't understand how once people are led to water, they just it's just unbelievable that we're defending things parallel to this whole fluoride thing. We're defending things like putting a cyanide, a poison, into a child's body, or cobalt into a child's body, or a bacteria that comes from God knows where into a helpless little child's body, and we're thinking that's cute to come down on people for not doing that. We're thinking we're cute to do that. Shame, shame, shame on these vegans. Shame on them all. Mandatory fluoridation has been banned in many countries across the world, including most of Europe, where the addition of chemicals to the public water supply is generally viewed as unethical, especially when there's no significant health benefits. Well, that's good. However, fluoride is still commonly added to the public water supplies in most of North America. We're pretty slow to catch up over here in North America. We're pretty slow to catch up. It's actually illegal today to dump this known regulated toxin and pollutant into our lakes and rivers, but apparently still perfectly fine to continue putting it in our drinking water and toothpaste. You can't make this stuff up. Overall, Edward Bernays was instrumental in introducing psychoanalytical techniques and shaping consumer demand. He spearheaded and started these campaigns in the 1920s. He was very well known by the 1930s, the 1940s, and beyond. So, what year did the whole B12 inception thing happen, everybody? 1948. Just a few decades or a few years right after the whole Edward Bernays blueprint came into fruition. So what we do and what this history book does, all Anthea does is connect the dots for you, compiles history up in a very easy to understand order, and lets you read tea leaves and see what's actually going on. So what they did, the bad actors and the championers of the B12 directive, they copied and pasted this blueprint, this exact blueprint, into their module in order to full send the B12 lie out to the masses. Simply by causing changes in public opinion, he was instrumental in promoting and normalizing such toxic and even carcinogenic products like fluoride, cigarettes, bacon, and eggs. After witnessing each of Edward Bernay's mega successful campaigns that employed brainwashing by propaganda, it's no wonder that the fear-mongering lies used to promote vitamin B12, alleging dire necessity of this crucial nutrient and its amazing curative properties, took hold so quickly and effectively amongst all vegans and even those just contemplating switching to a plant-based diet. Crazy. So that's the whole chapter. I'm going to touch on chapter 21 a little bit. I'm not going to read the whole thing. We're going to touch on it maybe in a more of a brief fashion. I got about 10, 15 minutes. But what do you guys think about that? And welcome to anybody that's just getting here. If you're getting here, I see there's a fair amount of people in the room. My name is James. I'm a vegan activist. I run this channel. It's called Above the Horizon, and the channel name means we set our purviews to where we can see the full view. That's what we want to do. As vegans, as compassionate human beings, we want to see the whole view. We're after truth. That's the whole point of this channel. Is we're after truth, and vegan activism is the crux. Yeah. Noah, so thanks for being here. I see you tuned. You can subscribe if you like, and you can go to my playlist, and you can look up all the fake B12 Fridays that I've done. Most importantly, everybody, please buy this book. It's called The Enigma of Vitamin B12, Nature's Only Mistake, written by Anthea V. Hayes. Tons of good reviews. You'll see them all. I think you can get it from Amazon. You can do Kindle. You can buy the paperback. I like the paperback because I like to highlight things. I like to see things. I like books tangibly anyway. And this can go right in my vegan bookcase with the World Peace Diet, Mad Cowboy, What a Fish Knows, and that type of in your version of, which hopefully have all those vegan books as well. Hopefully you can get all those Greger books, all those plant-based doctor books. Get them out of there. Burn them. Instructions to burn. But I love. It's one of my favorite vegan books, and it's enlightened me, and I have put it on myself to enlighten everybody else in the spirit of truth. So thanks. But you can see. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, check it out, and definitely check out the book too. And I go out there. I talk to people every week. We get in the street, we get raw, we get in there, and we just rip the Band-Aid off with that question, why aren't you vegan yet? But we kind of take them in the spirit of love and show them that they've been lied to. Just like I'm trying to show vegans that we've been lied to too. And when we are not defending the animals in this spirit, then we are effectively defending profit engines and throwing the animals right under the bus, and our whole endeavor becomes moot and void. So this whole endeavor is to enlighten vegans of the truth so we can go out there and be good vegan activists and not just the old pick-me vegan who wants to just be in that tribal echo chamber and not grow. We can't have that. We can't do that. They don't have time, and the animals don't... they can't get up there and say, "Hey, stop weakening the vegan diet." You have to maintain the strength of the vegan diet. They can't tell us that. They don't have voices. And pay homage to all that vivisection. Anyway, the next chapter is called "Testing for Deficiency: Designed to Misdiagnose." Now, I'm going to touch on this one. I just want to take a little break for a second. But anyway, how's my reading? Is my reading okay? I used to love reading in high school. I would always want to be the one. I would raise my hand to read out loud. It was like my thing. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I still have an affinity for it. I do like to read. Hopefully it was okay, and hopefully it made sense. Anyway. Oh, awesome. Well, thank you. So chapter 21 is called Testing for Deficiency. So one of the things you guys have to keep in mind that when you go and you get a B12 test and they test you for vitamin B12, they're testing against a synthetic. They're testing to see how much synthetic B12, and let's back that up. What is synthetic B12? Synthetic B12 is cobalt, cyanide, mystery bacteria, aggregated in a lab context, into a nice pretty little package called a pill. And the person eats that, it gets into their blood serum levels. So we test, and when they test for it, when you go to the doctor and they conduct a B12 test, blood test, they're looking and probing for that exact entity that I just framed out and the remnants of. So that's what happens when you go to get a B12 test. You're actually not, they're not testing for any kind of soil extracted bacteria. They're not doing that. They'll signal in a very gray, nuanced way that that's what it is. They may signal that, and that may be intent or non-intended, but that's absolutely not what's happening. They're literally testing for the man-made product. Just like if I was to harvest or extract unicorn shit from a unicorn, say they existed, and I just put it together in a nice little package with some cobalt and some cyanide, and I packaged that into a nice little pill. Then I put that in stores for people to buy, and I called it UC17. You got to get your UC17. You have to have it. You're going to get brain shit. And then you tingling and numbness, and you name it, 100 others. And then you test for that, and you go to the doctor and you get a test for that. They're going to test against the synthetic, the actual pill of which was concocted and built out in a lab context. And if you don't have any in your blood and you haven't eaten that pill of unicorn shit, cobalt and cyanide, you're going to test low for that. And you're going to need to remedy that. You're going to need to up your B12, or else you'll be at risk for UC17 deficiency. And you know what that means. Ooh, we're in trouble now. Dangerous. I hope that made sense. Anyway, so that's the crux of a test when you go to get a B12 test. They're not testing against any kind of entity from the soil. It's never existed in the soil. If you were with us for the last fake B12, we learned about the cyanobacteria kind of confluence and how things got conflated on purpose. Shady, Margaret O'Burton. How she essentially conflated B12 and cyanobacteria in a researched paper, and then so it was written, so it was understood. But if you want to learn more about that, go to my fake B12 from last week where we talk about cyanobacteria and how they were inspired by the beneficial bacteria and then added their little cobalt cyanide contraption, or in this case it was cobalt and chlorine, added that onto it, and then all of a sudden said, this looks like the B12 that we've discussed. This looks like very, very potent, very, very definitive B12. So if you want to have that further impact and hear me amplify on that a little bit more, for one, you got to buy the book. You have to buy the book. And for two, go look at that fake B12 Friday from last week, and we talk about it almost all the time. But yeah, I guess I won't spend too much time on this. Chapter 21, we get into how they, or Anthea gets into how they test against the synthetic towards the end of the chapter. And some of the scary things they do to people that are found to be B12 deficient, like, did you know they do spinal taps? They institute spinal taps to people that are absolutely incredibly B12 deficient. That is very invasive and extremely dark when you think about it, what they're doing. And considering this whole B12 deficiency is fake and a lie. But in the beginning, we talk about, Anthea talks about the tests a little bit and how they're very, just very complex. And they've been made to be complex by the people that have been in charge of proctoring the tests and looking for things and engineering the tests, and how they are seemingly very counterintuitive as far as their readings go. There's a bit more to unpack there concerning MMA and MTHFR. I'm not going to dive too much into that right now. This is something where you really got to read the book. You got to get the book and you got to put your eyes to this. And one thing about this book, guys, you're going to have to read it maybe a few times. And there will be multiple parts in the book where you're going to have to scan the paragraph a few times. This whole lie was architected with a keen and clever beyond things imagined. And that presents a very, very, very large inertia, a very large partition of which the unfortunate drinker of this Kool-Aid has to be able to climb over and to see over in order to really see this truth. And that might take a few times reading the book, underlining some paragraphs, really letting things steep with you. So I'm a vegan because tempeh is more affordable than fish or meat here in Indonesia. Oh, okay, very cool. Well, and also, it's awesome you're doing something nice for the animals. You're leaving them out of the equation. I love that. Let's see. Cool. Yeah, I'm not too privy to your previous comments, Noek. You say they derive it from side effects they can measure, but those side effects are not conclusive of B12 deficiency, something like that. Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if this is what you're referencing, but there are over 110 symptoms now of B12 deficiency, and all of these could be attributed to a whole myriad of other things. But as per the narrative, they've kind of captured these things or lamented these things as being correlated to B12 deficiency. It's kind of it's sick. I mean, I would say it's funny, but it's not funny. What's happened, and they've got everybody kind of drinking from that fountain. Yeah, yeah. But moving on, towards the end of the chapter, let's see here. Oh, let's read the last paragraph. Sorry, I couldn't really touch on the whole thing. I went really hard with the Edward Bernays thing. We read the whole chapter, so it took up a little bit of time. But I thought that was a really interesting one to just kind of read out loud the whole thing. So the question then becomes, why would you want to get tested for a deficiency of B12 when the real danger lies in excessive amounts obtained from supplements and fortified foods that your body can't process or absorb? You should be a lot more concerned about serious underlying medical conditions being ignored, suppressed, and remaining unaddressed, all because of this insane and obsessive focus on the hobgoblin scapegoat known as vitamin B12. Yeah, so while we're looking at this whole apparent problem with vitamin B12 deficiency, we're ignoring all these things that are actually impossibly happening, like actual underlying medical conditions that need to be addressed. So it really just it calls, like, the truth calls us to just push this aside, not look at it, lament it as deception, and look to things that are actually happening to you, because it's kind of like a magician's misdirection. These B12 narrative orchestrators are misdirecting you to a paper toothless tiger that's never existed and got you all worried about that. In paying and putting this stuff into your body, and in getting cancer risks with high cobalt ingestion, and having issues with your body because you're eating too much cobalt. These are all disgusting things for your body, everybody. In excess, they're putting everybody at risk with the whole championing of this directive, this whole narrative. But yeah, that pretty much wraps it up. It wraps up these two chapters. Chapter 22, we're going to talk about the concept of vitamins and the toxicity of vitamin B12, cyanide cancer, and liver damage. And then we're probably going to do the next chapter next week too. I might even get 3 chapters in next week, depending on how I do. Chapter 23 is B12 supplement ingredients: activated sewage sludge, dairy cesspools, and acne bacteria. Doesn't that just sound like something you want to put in your holy temple? Amazing. Just absolutely amazing, right? Yeah. Cobalt, heavy metal carcinogen. Yet we have people, vegans, telling other vegans and non-vegans that they should be eating cobalt via a pill, via a lab-created pill. Yikes. Yeah, the crux of all this is, guys, if you're just getting here, and you're here at the end of this live stream is that beneficial bacteria hasn't gone anywhere. Beneficial cyanobacteria is still ubiquitous in the soil, and it's all around root nodule legumes like beans. It's still there. It has not been tempered. It hasn't gone anywhere. It hasn't magically taken a one-way trip to Mars. All beneficial bacteria is still in the soil. So if you want beneficial bacteria and you want specifically the kind that B12 plagiarize, just eat beans. Just eat the beans. There's no reason to put cyanide, cobalt, and just a foul mystery bacteria into your human body or put into the body of your children. It's very not nice to put into the bodies of your children. Little guys that can't speak up for themselves, don't have autonomy, that need you to guide them. So don't be like that. Okay, be a good parent. Be a good parent. Anyway, that about wraps it up, guys. Yeah. So it looks like Sunday I'll be out with the new sign, and I think I scheduled it for around 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock. And yeah, when I'm done with all these, by the way, I'm going to package them up really nicely. I'm going to probably redo the thumbnails for them. We'll put episode 1, chapters 1, 2, and 3. Episode 2, whatever chapters I did, and a nice package, beautiful playlist that we can reference and give to all of our friends that enlighten them with the truth as well. So, legumes. I had just before I got here, I had I had 2 big cans of chickpeas. That was my kind of effective dinner. I just open it up, dump them in, a little bit of olive oil, some lemon, maybe a little bit of salt, and boom, you get a ton of protein. If you just want a simple dinner, beans, chickpeas, lentils, split peas, there's protein, there's bacteria, there's fiber. Yeah, every single one of them has an essential amino profile. The beauty of plants and the just the objective kind of the objective just theirness of them and how they're perfect for our bodies just presides. All we need to do is eat plants. That's it. We don't need these pills. Okay? Don't listen to the scientists. Don't listen to the businessmen in white coats. That's what I call them. They're businessmen. They're businessmen in white coats. 23,000 varieties of legumes. That's awesome. And Raw coming in with a real question here. Well, it's good. It's good to be regular, Raw. Himza, garbanzos for the win. I'm going to make some now from scratch. Touche, my friend. Touche. Legend. And thanks, Ahimsa. Alex and Plushy said hi. What's up, Alex? Nice to see you, Alex. Yeah, but so that's what we're going to keep doing. After these, I don't know. I was thinking of, kind of a more general themed profit engine live stream. Maybe like an every other week just hangout where we all hang out and we update each other on the latest news. We can talk about activism. We can talk about this kind of stuff, different notions and ideas that we have on certain things, and have it like a kind of like a cool little hiving out type of thing. I was thinking of doing that after we're done with the B12 Fridays, like maybe something. But I don't know if I'm going to be able to do every single Friday. I probably will be able to do every other Friday, but we'll see. We'll see. Oh, Linda, what's going on? Nice to see you, Linda. Thanks for being here. And thank you all for being, like just true defenders of the animals and defenders of truth. We can't help people, and we can't be vegan activists if we're defending profit engines. How can we effectively do that? That nullifies things. If we're not seeking the truth and we're not operating from a place of truth, we're not helping any animal. We're not helping any animal. That's just how it is. We're saying that a vegan diet is weak. That's not nice. That's not cool, and that's not helping anybody. But as more and more of us realize the truth, and we have these kind of awakenings per se, I think it's going to be beneficial to the whole. It's going to be beneficial to the whole. Big time. Oh yeah, we got a lot of vegans in here right now. Diabetic, what about diabetic meals, says Anthony? Oh man, you're in the right place if you're just getting here. You know, the vegan diet, very accommodating and very helpful to diabetics. You get all that crap out of there that creates bad insulin balances. You're not eating cholesterol, saturated fat, heterocyclic amines, hormones, TMAO. You're not putting any of that crap into your body. You're presenting a beautiful canvas for your body to reset and re-equilibrate. So yeah, check out some of the other videos on my channel. Check out the book, The World Peace Diet. Everybody's got to read this book, The Enigma of Vitamin B12, Nature's Only Mistake. Um, we don't need to have Science Enterprise tell us things. Everybody knows deep down, we know, and we know that a vegan diet is what we're supposed to be eating. You just look into the eyes of a sentient being and you know that. You know that. These are tea leaves. These are tells that this kind of this manifested earthly realm gives us. So, all right, guys, I'm taking off. Message of the week: be a vegan, not a pick me. Don't concede to the tribal echo chambers. Stand alone. Go off. Find the truth. Seek the truth. Speak from truth. It's been a pleasure having all you guys here, and thanks for the ears to all who have listened. And yeah, moving forward, let's speak from truth and let's defend these animals. I'll see you guys out on the street on Sunday night, and we'll do some live activism. All right, guys, everybody like and subscribe. I'm glad you liked it, Noek. Thank you. And thanks for being here. Thanks, everybody, for being here. All right, everybody. Till the next time, same place. Fake B12 Friday. And we'll go into new territory next week. Bye, guys. Take care.